Have you ever really stopped to think about what it takes to build a person? I mean, it's a journey that starts with one single cell, and just 40 weeks later, you have a baby with a working brain, a beating heart, 10 fingers, 10 toes, the whole thing. It is, without a doubt, the most complex and incredible construction project on Earth. So today, we're going to walk through that amazing blueprint.
So let's just ask the big question right up front. How does this even happen? How does life pull off this incredible magic trick, turning something you can't even see into a fully formed baby, all set to take its first breath? There's no foreman with a clipboard, no instruction manual to read. It all just happens on this kind of biological autopilot. So let's peel back the layers on this amazing 9-month marathon of creation.
Okay, so our journey starts in the first trimester. And let me tell you, these first 12 weeks, they're maybe the most important of all. This is where everything gets built from absolute scratch. We're not just talking about getting bigger, we're talking about creating every single major organ and system from literally nothing. It's just a period of ridiculously fast development.
Right at the very beginning, that tiny ball of cells, called a blastocyst, has to make its first huge decision. You could call it the Great Divide. It literally splits itself into two teams. One bundle of cells, the inner group, has the job of becoming the baby itself. The other group, the outer cells, they have a totally different mission, but it's just as important. They're going to build the baby's personal life support system.
And that life support system is the placenta. I mean, think about this thing. It's a temporary organ built for just this one 9-month job, but its role is massive. It's the ultimate go-between for mother and baby. It's like a 24/7 delivery service, sending nutrients and oxygen through the umbilical cord, and it's also the waste management crew, taking all the bad stuff away. It's a total powerhouse, growing right alongside the baby.
The speed here is just, well, it's hard to even wrap your head around. By week 3, we're not even a month in, and a tiny heart tube is already forming and starting to beat. A few weeks later, at week 6, you can actually see a face starting to emerge. Dark spots for eyes, little holes for a nose. By week 8, those little nubs for arms and legs are sprouting distinct fingers and toes. And by the time this first trimester is over, that simple tube has become a fully working heart.
And let's just pause on that number for a second. 4. That's how many chambers are in that fully formed heart that's already pumping away by week 12. This isn't just a simple pump, okay? This is a high-tech piece of engineering, with chambers to take blood in and chambers to pump it out to the rest of the tiny, growing body. It's this complex, powerful machine working perfectly, all built from nothing in less than 3 months. It's amazing.
All right, let's move on to the second trimester. If the first trimester was all about building the house, this part is about wiring it all up and starting to connect with the world outside. The focus shifts from just creating systems to making them all work together, as the baby starts to actually develop its senses.
So one of the first things you'd notice now is a change in proportions. In that first trimester, the baby is kind of all head. Seriously, the head is almost half the baby's entire length because the brain is developing so fast. But now, the rest of the body hits a massive growth spurt. The torso gets longer and the legs grow to match the arms. The baby starts looking way less like an alien and a lot more like a miniature person. And that wiring it all up thing is really key. That heart we talked about, it's now being controlled by the brain. And get this, it's beating incredibly fast, around 140 to 150 beats per minute. That is more than double what an adult's resting heart rate is. This isn't just random. It's a clear sign that the nervous system is taking charge and running the show. And as that nervous system gets more sophisticated, a whole bunch of new skills get unlocked. The nerves are getting coated in this fatty stuff called myelin, which is like upgrading the body's internet from dial-up to super fast fiber. This means much more coordinated movements. The baby can now make facial expressions, practice swallowing, clasp its hands together, and even find its own thumb to suck on. And those kicks are getting a lot more powerful too.
Okay, this part is just wild. Even though the baby's eyelids are still fused shut, its senses are coming online. The eyes can now tell the difference between light and dark. So if a bright light shines on the belly, the baby might actually turn away from it. And hearing takes a huge leap forward. The baby can now hear sounds from the outside world, especially the sound of its mother's voice, and the constant comforting rhythm of her heartbeat.
And now we are in the home stretch, the third trimester. This last part is all about packing on weight and, maybe most importantly, practice. The baby isn't just developing anymore, it is actively rehearsing all the skills it's going to need to survive out in the world. It's basically a full-time dress rehearsal for opening night. Just think about what a baby needs to do right after it's born. It needs to breathe, right? Well, it's practicing that by inhaling and exhaling amniotic fluid to strengthen its chest muscles. It needs to eat, so it's sucking its thumb, not just for comfort, but to build up those strong sucking muscles for feeding. Its eyes are open now, and it's practicing blinking. It's even getting into a rhythm of sleeping and waking, getting ready for life on a schedule.
And speaking of sleep, here's something that is truly mind-blowing. Brain scans of a fetus around 28 weeks show clear sleep cycles, including REM, rapid eye movement sleep. You know, that's the stage where we adults do all of our dreaming. So, is it possible the baby is already dreaming in there? It is absolutely possible. Just incredible.
Now, one of the last major organ systems to get fully ready is the lungs. And right now, they're busy making this super important substance called surfactant. Think of it like a non-stick coating for the tiny little air sacs on the lungs. Without it, those sacs would just stick together when the baby breathed out, making it impossible to breathe. The body ramps up production in the final weeks, making sure the lungs are good to go for that very first gasp of air.
And here's a fun little fact that really shows you how connected the baby is to the outside world. Every time it swallows that amniotic fluid, it's also tasting what mom ate. Strong flavors, like garlic or spices, can actually get into the fluid, and the baby might just react to a new taste with a little kick. Or maybe even a bout of hiccups, which you'd feel as these tiny rhythmic little jumps.
So here we are at the very end of the line. We're in the final countdown. In these last few weeks, all systems are doing their final checks. The baby's putting on fat, the organs are finishing up their development, and all the last-minute preparations are being made for that huge transition into the world.
So let's run down the pre-launch checklist, shall we? Brain, online and processing signals from all 5 senses? Check. Organs, fully developed and good to go, just waiting for the lungs to finish their last update. Check. Digestive system, primed and ready for its first meal. Check. And finally, body temperature. Thanks to new layers of fat, the baby can now regulate its own temperature. All systems are go. And a few last-minute physical preps are happening too. The baby sheds that cheesy white coating called vernix that protected its skin and also the fine downy hair that kept it warm. But here is one of the most brilliant bits of design in this whole process. The bones in the skull are still soft and not fused together yet. This allows the head to actually change shape a little bit, making the journey through the birth canal so much easier for everyone involved.
So after 40 weeks, we've gone from a single cell to a complete human being. Every system built, tested, and ready. And the most incredible part is that this whole impossibly complicated journey happens entirely on autopilot. It just unfolds according to this ancient internal blueprint. And that really leaves you with a big question to chew on, doesn't it? What does this perfectly timed, automated process tell us about the deep, built-in intelligence of life itself?